Is it ready?
Hey everybody, how you doing? Aaron here from Laid Off Productions. Now some of you may know me as Laszlo, the MST guy, but today I'm doing something a little bit different. Today I want to look at a hidden gem of a movie that most people have probably never heard of, and it's called Equinox. Before we get into the review for the movie, we need to discuss a little bit of the movie's history. Now, there's actually two different versions of the film. The 1967 original version and the 1970 re-release, recut, whatever you want to call it. The 1967 version was a film project by special effects wizard Dennis Muren. Now, if you aren't familiar with his name, he was hired by Industrial Light and Magic in the mid-70s, and the first film he worked on was Star Wars. He has since gone on to win several Oscars for his incredible special effects work. The basic storyline is pretty much the same between both versions of the movie. However, there are some differences. The movie follows the story of four young college students, David, Susan, Vicky, and Jim. No, your eyes are not deceiving you. That is Herb Tarlick from WKRP. Our story begins with David in the hospital being interviewed by a reporter.
How are you feeling, David? What's the cross for? To protect you from the curse?
David attacks the reporter. David is pulled off the reporter, and the reporter heads into David's doctor's office and has played a tape of David that was recorded when he was first admitted into the hospital.
Okay, now, sit down here. Let me go. You better hold him down. The cross, I gotta have that cross, please. All right, David, we'll get you. With a crucifix. Okay, but now relax. Tell us what happened to you. Why do you want a crucifix? To keep them away from me. They're gonna come and they'll kill me. They will.
We now flash back 366 days.
Hey, what's the name of the girl that Eddie's bringing?
Susan Turner.
Turner. You don't think you'd stick me with a loser, do you?
The four head out into the woods of California to look for Dr. Waterman, one of David's professors.
Yeah, Waterman's place is in the woods a little ways.
Okay. Why don't we walk up to it and see if we can get a Coke or something? I'm thirsty.
When they come across a cave with a crazy old man with a mysterious ancient book.
Here you are, take it. Now get out.
Don't you want it back?
Want it back? No, I don't. Now get out of here.
Now some of you may be thinking, I've heard this storyline before. And yes, there is speculation that this was the inspiration for Sam Raimi's Evil Dead. After taking the book from the old man, they are suddenly attacked by Waterman. Waterman dies and his body mysteriously disappears.
There's where you dragged him up here, so this is the spot.
But there are no footprints. If he got up, there would have been footprints. It's as though he just disappeared.
Off in the distance, the group sees a castle on the edge of a cliff. They decide to check it out.
Hey, look at that.
Wow. What's a castle doing in this area?
Upon getting to where the castle should be, they find that the castle has disappeared, and in its place, an incredible split-screen barrier. Jim enters the barrier and gets killed, but a fake Jim exits the barrier with David.
What have you done with Jim?
Your friend is dead. Something we had hoped to avoid. But now it looks as if we'll have to kill all of you.
The two guys have a quick chat and a little fight. Fake Jim turns into a demon and kills Vicky. Next, the demon chases David and Susan into a cemetery.
Dave!
The demon crashes into a cross-shaped headstone and explodes. And Susan gets killed in the explosion. David heads up to the road and gets picked up. It is assumed that David is taken to the hospital, and this is where we catch up with the beginning of the film.
So Susan was dead,
Yeah.
and all the others, Vicky and Jim and Waterman?
Yeah.
Did you kill them?
No, of course not. What's the difference? In a year from now, I too will be dead.
As the reporter leaves the hospital, Susan, who is supposed to be dead, is shown entering the hospital. The end. The biggest difference between the 1967 version and the 1970 version is the addition of the character Asmodeus, the park ranger, in the 1970 version. The entire movie was dubbed, and when the 1970 version was released, the original actor that played David was recast and a new actor took his place. 1967 David?
Yeah, Waterman's place is in the woods a little ways.
1970 David?
To Waterman's place is in the woods a little ways.
The rest of the differences are basically found in the editing. Some of the story elements have been removed from the 67 version, and some new scenes were filmed for the 1970 version. So what makes this little horror movie worthy of being reviewed? It was deemed an important enough film to be released on Criterion DVD. Is it the acting?
That's all right. Looks like we're going to be here for a little while with that castle to look at. And the book.
Is it the special effects? Is it the story?
The unfortunate thing about Waterman is that once he discovered his answers, he didn't know what to do with them. That barrier is the result of his work. And for a while, the barrier shield dissolved, enabling people to see the other world without crossing over.
Is it the fact that Dennis Muren directed it? Or that Ed Begley Jr. was an assistant cameraman? I would have to say no to all of them. Sort of. It isn't one single thing that makes this movie stand out. It's a combination of all of those elements and everything else that went into the making of this film that just makes it so special. There is a charm to this movie that most movies today could only wish they could achieve. The stop motion effects are used fairly heavily in the 1967 version. You can really see the influence Ray Harryhausen had on director Dennis Muren. Most of these effects were removed for the 1970 version, with the exception of a few key scenes. So which version is better? In the 1967 version, the story is a little more drawn out, but it does feature the stop motion effects. The 1970 version has a more streamlined story and the Asmodeus character. The addition of this character really adds a new dimension to the film, which also helps give the movie a stronger antagonist that was kind of lacking in the 67 version.
Name's Asmodeus. You looking for someone?
I really think both films stand on their own for their own reasons, but if I had to choose, I'd probably go with the 1970 version. The editing is just a lot tighter, and it makes the movie flow a lot better. If you have any interest in old drive-in B-movies, Equinox, it'll be right up your alley. Sure, it may not be the greatest film ever made, but with its creative effects and filming style, it is certainly a movie worth checking out. That's it for this edition of Hidden Gems. In my next episode, I think I'm going to be looking at the 1998 indie film Six String Samurai, and I'll probably also have a guest on that episode too. If you have any questions or comments, you can email me at laslowmstguy@gmail.com or follow me on Twitter at Laslow3. So until next time, this has been Hidden Gems. We'll see ya.
Not here. I haven't seen him. Anything I can do for you?